I woke up smiling because my wedding was only 7 months away. Every morning felt lighter whenever I remembered Lily's laugh. My parents kept teasing me about becoming a husband, and my best friend Ryan never missed a chance to joke about my terrible dancing. "You'd better practice," Ryan said, tossing me a tie. "You can't embarrass Lily on the happiest day of her life." I laughed. "You're my best man. If anyone embarrasses us, it'll be you." He grinned. "Fair enough." That evening, I visited my parents for dinner. My mother hugged me before I even reached the table. "Ethan," she said, "promise me you'll slow down. You've been working too hard." "I will after the wedding," I replied. My father smiled. "You've always chased big dreams." "I'm almost there," I said, "just a little longer." After dinner, I drove to Lily's apartment. She opened the door before I could knock. "I missed you," she whispered. "I was only gone since breakfast." "That's still too long." I wrapped my arms around her. "Our house is almost paid for," I said. "After this overseas project, we can finally stop worrying." Her smile faded. "I don't like that project. It lasts only 6 months." "I know." "Then what's wrong?" She looked into my eyes. "I have a bad feeling." I squeezed her hand. "Nothing will happen. You can't promise that." "I'll call every day." She shook her head. "I wish you wouldn't go." Before I could answer, Ryan knocked and walked inside carrying pizza. "I figured you two forgot to eat again." Lily forced a smile. "Thanks." Ryan placed the boxes on the table. "So," he said, "have you convinced him to stay?" "I'm trying." He looked at me. "Ethan, this contract will change your future." "I know." He turned toward Lily. "I understand why you're scared, but 6 months isn't forever." She sighed. "It feels like forever." Ryan spoke gently. "When he comes back, you'll have your dream home." I nodded. "Exactly." She stayed quiet for several seconds before finally saying, "Promise me you'll come home." "I promise." The next weeks passed quickly. Every phone call with Lily ended with the same words. "I love you. I love you more." At the airport, my mother hugged me tightly. "Come back safely." "I will." My father shook my hand before pulling me into a hug. "We'll be waiting." Ryan slapped my shoulder. "Bring us expensive souvenirs." "I'll try." Lily held my face with both hands. "I'll count every day. And I'll count the hours." She kissed me softly. "Don't forget your promise." "I never will." The project went well for months. I called home almost every evening. Then everything changed. The ground shook beneath my feet. Someone screamed, "Earthquake!" Steel beams twisted. Concrete exploded around us. "Run." I tried. The world collapsed before I reached the exit. Darkness swallowed me. Pain burned through my body. I couldn't move. I shouted, "Help!" Only silence answered. Hours later, I heard distant voices, then nothing again. My phone showed no signal. I whispered through cracked lips, "Lily? Mom? Dad?" Tears filled my eyes. "If anyone can hear me," I whispered into the darkness, "please, don't stop believing I'm alive." Hashtag chapter 2, a man the world forgot. I opened my eyes when someone shouted, "He's breathing. Get him out." I tried to speak. "Where am I?" A calm voice answered, "You're safe now. My name is Victor Hayes. My rescue team found you." My phone, I whispered, "I need to call my family." Victor looked away. "I'm sorry. Everything was destroyed." Days later, I sat in a hospital bed with bandages covering most of my body. "When can I go home?" I asked. "Victor site. It's complicated." "What do you mean?" "Your passport was lost. The government has already listed everyone from your site as dead." I stared at him. "Dead?" "Yes." "No, I'm sitting right here." "I know, Ethan, but proving it will take time." I closed my eyes. Lily thinks I'm gone. Victor nodded silently. Weeks passed before I could walk without help. One afternoon, Victor visited again. "I have news." "I can finally leave?" "Not yet." My heart sank. "The paperwork is moving, but slowly." "How slowly?" Months, maybe longer. I lower my head. They'll think I abandoned them. They won't. You don't know Lily. I don't, he admitted. But I know hope keeps people alive. He offered me a position at his construction company. You'll earn money while we fix your documents. I don't want another job. I understand. I just want my life back. So fight for it. I accepted because I had no other choice. Every Sunday, I wrote letters. Dear Lily, I'm alive. Dear Mom and Dad, please don't give up on me. I mailed every letter I could. None came back. None received a reply. Months became a year. 1 year became 2. Every morning I pushed myself through painful therapy. Victor often smiled. You're stronger today. I have to be. For yourself? For the people waiting at home. He never argued. One evening, he handed me another envelope. Try again. I've already written dozens. Write one more. I smiled weakly. I'll keep writing until one reaches them. Far away, without my knowledge, someone else was speaking to Lily. I know you miss Ethan, Ryan told her. I miss him every minute, she answered. He would have wanted you to keep living. I don't know how. You don't have to face everything alone. I never heard those words. I kept believing my letters would arrive before loneliness reached the people I loved. Meanwhile, a journalist named Sarah Bennett started asking questions about the disaster. Someone reportedly survived before official rescue efforts ended. Records did not match eyewitness accounts. She refused to let the story disappear. I knew nothing about her investigation. I only counted days on a small calendar beside my bed. One mark, then another, then another. Every crossed-out square brought me closer to home. I'll see them soon, I whispered. Victor heard me. You still believe that? I have to. And if everything has changed? I shook my head. It hasn't. I smiled despite the pain filling my body. I believe Lily still wore my engagement ring. I believe my parents still waited by the phone. I believed Ryan was taking care of everyone until I returned. Those beliefs carried me through every lonely night. I never imagined a life waiting for me no longer belonged to me. The wedding that destroyed me. After 2 years of waiting, fighting paperwork, and believing I was one step away from home, I finally landed in my city. I smiled as I held the engagement ring in my pocket. Lily is going to scream when she sees me. I whispered. The taxi driver laughed. Good surprise? The best surprise. I imagine her running into my arms. I imagine my parents crying with happiness. I imagine Ryan laughing and calling me impossible. Every dream carried me closer to the church. The wedding invitation I had found online confused me at first. Ryan had told people it was a charity event. I assumed he was helping organize it. Then I saw the decorations. Then I saw the guests. Then I saw my family. My heart began beating faster. What is this? I whispered. I stepped closer to a window. The moment I looked inside, my entire world stopped. Lily stood at the altar, wearing a white wedding dress. For one beautiful second, I thought she was waiting for me. Then Ryan stepped beside her. My breath vanished. No. I pressed my hand against the glass. No. The ring almost slipped from my fingers. Inside, everyone smiled. Outside, I felt my legs weaken. I watched Ryan take Lily's hands. I watched her smile at him. I watched the future I had survived for disappear. The priest spoke, but I barely heard him. My ears rang. My chest felt hollow. Then Ryan's voice reached me. I want to thank everyone who helped us heal together. Several guests nodded. My stomach twisted. Heal together. The words felt like knives. I searched the crowd and found my parents sitting in the front row. My mother wiped tears from her eyes. My father stared quietly ahead. Then my mother smiled. The sight shattered me. I wanted to run inside. I wanted to shout that I was alive. I wanted to ask why nobody waited. Instead, I stood frozen. Lily laughed softly at something Ryan said. I remembered our promises. Count the days, she had told me. I'll count the hours, I had answered. Now those words felt like memories from another life. The ceremony continued. Ryan slipped the ring onto her finger. Guests applauded. I couldn't breathe. One part of me screamed to go inside. Another part whispered something worse. What if nobody wanted me there? I took a step backward. Then another. Nobody noticed. Nobody looked toward the window. Nobody saw the man who had crossed oceans to come home. I turned away before the ceremony ended. My feet carried me through crowded streets. The city looked the same. I didn't. Hours later, I sat alone in a cheap hotel room. The engagement ring rested on the table. I stared at it. Then I laughed. The sound barely resembled laughter. It sounded broken. My phone remained silent. Nobody knew I was home. Nobody knew I was alive. I thought surviving the earthquake had been the hardest thing I would ever face. I was wrong. Buried beneath concrete. I had hope. Tonight, sitting alone in that room, hope fell harder to find than air. I picked up the ring and closed my hand around it. Then I whispered into the silence. How did I survive death only to lose everything waiting on the other side? The truth hidden behind their smiles. I spent the entire night staring at the engagement ring resting on the hotel table. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lily smiling beside Ryan. Every time I opened them, the room felt colder. The next morning, I sent my father a short message from a new phone. Dad, it's me. Please come alone. Don't tell anyone. An hour later, he stepped into the quiet cafe where I was waiting. He looked around nervously before his eyes landed on me. His face turned white. Ethan. I stood slowly. Dad. He stumbled toward me. No, this can't be real. It's me. His hands shook as he touched my shoulders. You're alive. I never stopped being alive. He pulled me into a tight hug. I buried you in my heart, he whispered. Every single day. I prayed I was wrong. I couldn't stop my own tears. I tried to come home. He stepped back and wiped his eyes. Sit down, please. We sat across from each other in silence. Finally, I asked a question that had been burning inside me. How did everything change so quickly? Dad lowered his head. After the earthquake, everyone believed you were gone. I sent letters. We never received any. I kept writing. We never saw a single one. I clenched my fists. Lily waited for a long time. How long? Almost 2 years. I closed my eyes. And Ryan? Dad sighed heavily. He was with us every day. Every day. He handled the insurance papers, helped your mother with the bills, and drove Lily to every memorial service. I felt something twist inside me. He became everyone's hero. Dad nodded slowly. Your mother trusted him completely. And you? I wanted to. But there was always something that felt wrong. What do you mean? He always had an answer before anyone asked a question. I frowned. You suspected him? I suspected his intentions, not the earthquake. I leaned closer. Did he push Lily toward marriage? Dad hesitated. I don't know. Please. He comforted her. He told her life had to move forward. Months later, he proposed. My chest tightened. Did she love him? I think she believed she had lost you forever. I looked away. I can't even blame her for that. Dad reached across the table. But I never stopped hoping. Why didn't you tell Mom? She needed peace. Before I could answer, my phone rang. An unfamiliar number appeared. I answered cautiously. Hello, is this Ethan Carter? Yes. My name is Sarah Bennett. I'm an investigative journalist. How did you find me? I contacted Victor Hayes after seeing records that didn't make sense. I exchanged a glance with Dad. What records? I think someone rushed your legal death. My heartbeat quickened. What are you talking about? Can we meet? An hour later, Sarah placed several folders on the cafe table. I've spent months investigating the disaster. She slid one document toward me. This insurance payment was approved far earlier than similar cases. I stared at the date. That's impossible. Exactly. She opened another file. Ryan Brooks received financial authority connected to your estate much sooner than normal. Dad frowned. I never knew about this. Sarah continued. Most families waited months for approval. So, why was mine different? I asked. That's what I'm trying to discover. I looked at every document without speaking. The dates didn't make sense. Neither did the signatures. Sarah folded her hands. I don't have all the answers yet, but you think someone manipulated the process? Yes. Dad looked at me. Ethan, I slowly closed the file. For 2 years, I kept asking why this happened to me. I took a deep breath. I'm done asking why. Sarah watched me carefully. Then what's your next question? I looked at Ryan's name printed across the paperwork, who benefited from everyone believing I was dead. The silence that followed felt heavier than the earthquake that had buried me. For the first time since coming home, my heartbreak stopped controlling me. Something stronger replaced it. The truth was hidden behind smiling faces, and I had finally decided to uncover every piece of it. My best friend's biggest secret. I couldn't sleep after reading the documents Sarah had shown me. Every page raised another question. Every signature pointed toward Ryan. The next morning, Sarah called me. I found something. What is it? Meet me at my office. I'll be there. When I arrived, she spread several files across her desk. I finally traced the paperwork. I picked up the first document. What am I looking at? Your death certificate. When every lie begins to collapse. The morning began with a single phone call from Sarah. Ethan, turn on the television. What happened? My investigation was published an hour ago. I grabbed the remote. Every news channel showed the same headline. Construction survivor declared dead too soon. Fraud investigation begins. My heart pounded. Sarah continued, people are already asking questions. Before I could answer, another call came in. Hello, this is Detective Noah Reed. I straightened in my chair. Yes, I've been assigned to reopen your case. My case. We believe several legal documents connected to your reported death may have been manipulated. So it wasn't just a mistake. We don't know yet. When do we meet? Today. By the afternoon, I sat across from Noah inside the police station. He placed a folder in front of me. We're tracing financial records, insurance payments, and communication logs. I nodded. I'll help however I can. We'll need every letter you wrote. I kept copies. Good. Those could become important evidence. As I left the station, Sarah called again. Ryan's business partners are panicking. What happened? They're afraid the investigation will expose financial fraud. Do they know everything? Not yet. I looked toward the city skyline. They will. Meanwhile, my phone buzzed with another message. It was from Lily. Can we meet? Please. Asterisk, asterisk. I agreed. When she arrived at the cafe, her eyes were red from crying. Ethan, what is it? She placed several old envelopes on the table. I found these. I recognized my handwriting immediately. My letters. She burst into tears. I never received them. I picked one up with trembling hands. I mailed dozens. I know now. She looked at me desperately. Ryan kept them. I stared at her. What? I found them hidden in a storage box. She covered her face. He told me there were never any survivors. I could barely breathe. He knew. I asked him so many times. What did he say? He kept telling me everyone had been found. And he lied. She nodded. I confronted him. What happened? He said he was protecting me. I laughed bitterly. Protecting you? He said moving on was the only way. My anger burned hotter than ever. Later that evening, Lily told me everything she remembered. Every missing letter. Every excuse. Every lie. Across town, my mother called me. Ethan, Mom, I don't know how to face you. You don't have to apologize. I believed him. You believed what everyone believed. She cried quietly. I should have waited. You loved me. I failed you. No, you spent years trying to come home. I never stopped. I can't forgive myself. I closed my eyes. I already forgave you. A gentle knock interrupted the conversation. When I opened my hotel room door, Victor smiled beside a young woman. Ethan, this is my daughter, Emma. She offered her hand. It's nice to finally meet you. Nice to meet you, too. Victor looked at me carefully. You shouldn't face this alone. Emma nodded. My father told me everything. I don't need revenge, I said. You need support, she replied. Her calm voice surprised me. She wasn't asking me to forget. She wasn't encouraging anger. She simply stood beside me. Over the following days, the investigation grew larger. Ryan's investors pulled away. His business contracts disappeared. His phone calls went unanswered. Every lie he had built began collapsing one after another. For the first time since returning home, I realized something important. I didn't have to destroy Ryan. The truth was already doing that for me. The woman who chose the truth. I received a message from Lily asking if we could meet one last time. For several minutes, I stared at the screen. Finally, I replied, tomorrow, 10 o'clock, Riverside Park. The next morning, I arrived early. When Lily walked toward me, she looked nothing like the woman I had seen at the wedding. Her eyes were swollen. Her shoulders trembled. She stopped a few feet away. Ethan, I nodded quietly. I don't know where to begin, she whispered. You don't have to begin with excuses. Tears rolled down her face. I believed you were gone. I know. I waited. I know. I prayed. I know. She covered her mouth as she cried. I loved you every single day. I looked at the river before answering. I believe you. She stared at me. You do? Yes. Then why can't you look at me? Because every time I do, I remember everything we lost. She lowered her head. I never wanted to replace you. I know. I thought I was honoring your memory by moving forward. I took a slow breath. Ryan made sure you believed that. He hid your letters. He did. He lied to me. He lied to all of us. She stepped closer. Can you forgive me? I closed my eyes. I already have. She looked surprised. You have? I forgive you for believing I was dead. Hope appeared in her eyes. But I continued softly. Forgiveness doesn't mean we can return to who we were. The hope disappeared. I understand. No, Lily, I do. I came home dreaming about our future. I know. I watched you marry someone else. She cried harder. I'm sorry. I know you are. She wiped away her tears. I'll spend the rest of my life wishing things had been different. I probably will too. Neither of us spoke for several moments. Finally, she whispered, Goodbye, Ethan. I nodded. Goodbye, Lily. She turned and slowly walked away. I didn't stop her. Some endings deserve silence. As I stood alone, someone approached behind me. Emma smiled gently. I hope I'm not interrupting. You aren't. How are you holding up? I honestly don't know. You don't have to pretend with me. I smiled faintly. Thank you. She stood beside me without asking questions, without offering advice, without judging anyone. Her quiet presence brought more comfort than endless words ever could. Later that evening, I returned home. My mother opened the door. She immediately hugged me. I made your favorite dinner. I laughed softly. I've missed this. Dad smiled from the dining room. We've missed you more. Dinner wasn't perfect. There were awkward silences. There were painful memories. But there was honesty. For the first time in years, we felt like a family trying to heal instead of strangers hiding grief. The following week, Sarah called. I have news. What happened? Judge Helen Morris officially scheduled Ryan's fraud trial. So it's finally happening. Yes. And there's more. What? Several people came forward after reading the investigation. More victims? She sighed. Ryan cheated investors, forged signatures, and manipulated financial records. I looked out the window. He kept digging a deeper hole. He did. And now he'll have to answer for everything. After the call ended, I sat alone with my thoughts. Months earlier, I had dreamed about making Ryan suffer. Now I understood something different. Real revenge wasn't shouting. It wasn't fighting. It wasn't destroying another person. Real revenge was refusing to let betrayal decide who I would become. Ryan had stolen years from my life. He had stolen my future. He had stolen the people I loved. But he would never steal my character. That choice still belonged to me. For the first time since I returned home, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. And I knew that no courtroom could ever deliver a greater victory than that. Walking into the courtroom, the morning of the trial arrived sooner than I expected. I stood outside the courthouse, staring at the tall stone building. Emma walked beside me. You don't have to be afraid. I'm not afraid. What are you feeling? I took a deep breath. Like I'm finally walking toward the end of a very long nightmare. She smiled gently. Then let's finish it. Inside the courtroom, reporters filled the back rows. My parents sat quietly beside Sarah. Lily looked exhausted. Ryan entered a few moments later. For the first time since I had known him, he looked uncertain. He glanced at me. I met his eyes without saying a word. Judge Helen Morris entered the courtroom. Everyone may be seated. The trial began. The prosecutor stood. Your Honor, today we will present evidence of fraud, insurance theft, document manipulation, and obstruction of justice. Ryan's attorney rose. My client denies acting with criminal intent. The prosecutor called the first witness. Sarah stepped forward. She explained every document she had uncovered. She pointed to financial records. She showed the timeline. Nothing matched the official story. Next came Detective Noah Reed. We recovered evidence showing multiple documents were intentionally altered. The courtroom grew silent. Finally, my name was called. I walked to the witness stand. The clerk asked, "Do you swear to tell the truth?" "I do." The prosecutor faced me. "Please tell the court what happened after the earthquake." I described the collapse, the rescue, the hospital, the missing passport, the letters I had written. I never stopped trying to come home. The prosecutor held up several envelopes. "Are these yours?" "Yes." "When did your family receive them?" "They never did." Ryan looked down. The prosecutor turned toward him. "Mr. Brooks, would you like to explain why?" For several seconds, Ryan said nothing. Then he slowly stood. His voice barely rose above a whisper. I intercepted them. The courtroom erupted. Judge Morris struck the bench with her gavel. "Order." Ryan closed his eyes. "I was afraid." The prosecutor spoke firmly. "Afraid of what?" "If Ethan came back." He swallowed hard. "I would lose everything." "Lose what?" "Lily." The room became silent again. Ryan continued. "I paid officials to speed up the legal paperwork." My mother gasped. "I destroyed evidence that could have delayed the death certificate." I stared at him. "You knew I might still be alive." He looked at me with tears in his eyes. "I hoped you weren't." His words hurt more than I expected. The prosecutor displayed bank records. "Did you also receive insurance money connected to Ethan Carter's reported death?" "Yes." "And did you use that money to build your company?" Ryan lowered his head. "Yes." Judge Morris watched him quietly. "When grief becomes an opportunity for personal gain," she said, "it stops being grief and becomes exploitation." The courtroom remained completely silent. After reviewing every document, she announced her decision. "This court finds Ryan Brooks guilty on all major charges." She paused before continuing. "Your greed destroyed trust, manipulated a grieving family, and exploited tragedy for financial benefit." Ryan didn't speak. He simply closed his eyes. As officers escorted him away, he looked back at me. "I'm sorry." I answered calmly. "I believe you are." Lily slowly stood. She turned toward my parents. "I'm sorry for believing lies instead of waiting." Then she faced me. "Ethan, I'm sorry." I nodded. "I know." No anger remained inside me, only relief. When I stepped outside the courthouse, reporters surrounded me. "Do you feel justice was served?" I looked at the clear afternoon sky. Justice wasn't about watching someone fall. What was it about? It was about the truth finally being heard. Emma slipped her hand into mine. I smiled for the first time that day. As the courthouse doors closed behind me, I realized the weight I had carried since the earthquake was finally gone. The truth had given me something revenge never could. It had given me my life back, the man who walked back in. Several months passed after the trial. Life didn't suddenly become perfect. It became honest. One evening, I sat with my parents on the front porch. My mother handed me a cup of coffee. I still wish I could erase those years, she said. I smiled gently. So do I? My father looked at me. But if we keep living in regret, we'll lose today too. I nodded. He's right. Mom reached for my hand. Thank you for giving us another chance. You never stopped being my parents. She wiped away a tear. We're proud of the man you became. So am I, Dad added. For the first time in years, silence between us felt peaceful instead of painful. A week later, I met Lily one final time. She stood beside the train platform with a single suitcase. I accepted a teaching job in another city, she said. I hope it gives you a fresh start. I think it will. She smiled sadly. I wanted to thank you. For what? For forgiving me. I shook my head. You don't owe me anything anymore. She looked toward the arriving train. I spent years believing I had lost you, and I spent years trying to come home. I'm sorry. I know. She took a deep breath. I'll never forget you. I won't forget you either. The train doors opened. She stepped inside. Before the doors closed, she smiled one last time. Goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye, Lily. I watched the train disappear into the distance. This time, watching someone leave didn't break me. It reminded me that every ending makes room for a new beginning. The following month, Victor invited me to his office. He poured 2 cups of coffee before speaking. When I rescued you, I saw determination. I laughed softly. I mostly remember pain. You turned that pain into strength. He slid a folder across the desk. I opened it slowly. What is this? A partnership agreement. I stared at him. You want me to become your business partner? I trust you. I don't know what to say. Say yes. I smiled. Yes. Victor stood and shook my hand. I've been waiting to hear that. When I walked outside, Emma was waiting. How did it go? I held up the folder. I think my life just changed again. She hugged me. I knew it would. Over the following months, we worked side by side. We laughed together. We argued over building designs. We celebrated every success. Nothing felt forced. Nothing felt rushed. Trust grew quietly between us. One evening, Emma looked at the sunset. You know, she said, you're smiling a lot more now. I didn't notice. I did. I looked at her. Thank you. For what? For standing beside me when I had nothing. You always had something. What? A good heart. Her words stayed with me. A year later, I stood outside the house I had dreamed of building long before everything changed. This time, I built it with my own hands. Not for the past, for the future. I looked around the quiet yard. My parents laughed inside the kitchen. Victor and Emma were helping unpack boxes. For the first time, the house felt like a home. I remembered the frightened man trapped beneath broken concrete. I remembered the lonely survivor writing letters that never arrived. I remembered the broken man standing outside a church window. None of those versions of me had disappeared. They had simply become part of the person I was now. I lifted my eyes toward the rising sun. Walking back into my old life was never the greatest victory. Walking forward without hatred was. I lost years. I lost dreams. I lost people I believed would always be beside me. Yet I found something far more valuable. I found myself, and I finally understood the greatest truth my journey had taught me. People can steal your place, your money, and even your future for a while, but they can never steal the person you choose to become.